Hey everyone, welcome back to Automation. It's been a while. I was sick last week, so I had no voice and I couldn't make a video, otherwise it would have sounded like I had been smoking since the fourth grade. But today I am back again. Let's build something weird. It's going to be a big block inline 3. My nickname for this engine specifically is the Oxymoron because big block, but then inline 3 is just a weird combination. I don't know. Let's see what we can do. My victim slash test subject for this is going to be the Bugo, and I'm also going to put it in another vehicle of mine, the Jade that we made 3 weeks ago. I want to see what this engine will do in a small car and in a big car. But first, obviously, it's got to go into the small one. So a big block inline 3. What does that mean? Well, inline 3, let's make it aluminum, I guess. We'll see if that works. And the largest size that I can get for an inline 3, which is 4.1 liters. 4.1 liter inline 3 is pretty big. The reason that I kind of thought about this was because a lot of vehicles these days tend to have these kind of engines where they go from a V8 to a V6 and then down to a 4-cylinder. Like in the case of the Silverado as an example, they've been downsizing engines and then turbocharging them as just a trend now. You can buy a Silverado with a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder, which is strange, but that's a big 4-cylinder turbocharged to the nines in order to actually work in a big truck. So we're going to do the same thing except worse because it's an inline 3, 4-liter inline 3 turbocharged. We'll see what happens. It's honestly a miracle that this thing fits in the Bugo. I'm pretty pleased about that. Let's do dual overhead cam. This is a tall inline 3 and aluminum heads as well. You know what? Let's go max power. I'm going to go up on the quality too. Alright, leaving everything here the same except plus 15. Turbo with boost control. We can only do one turbo, unfortunately. I'm very sad, trust me. Pull that up there and... oh, this is 1982. Hold on a sec. Yeah, so that just gives us access to some other materials. I moved it up to 2020, which is the most recent year. That just makes a lot more sense than trying to do this in 1983. We'll make a lot more power than we were going to before. But yeah, lightweight titanium, lightweight forged, everything of the highest quality. It's still going to be a 4.1 liter. We can do VVT as well, which is nice. Still single turbo, but we'll go for the smart boost, variable geometry, ball bearing. We'll come back and tweak this. Direct injection, baby. Race intake. Oh my goodness. I would definitely daily this sucker. Okay, I definitely wouldn't. The fuel economy on this thing would be awful. We're going to run it on E85's more octane equivalent, which is E100. Which that's a lot of octane. I don't think we'll be needing more than that. It's basically a diesel, except obviously race spec. And I don't know, this thing is going to be weird. 674.7 horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower. It actually makes a decent amount of torque as well, 950 newton meters. Why the heck do we have 4 cylinders when you can have a 3-cylinder with this much go juice in it? And that's before I even do anything with the highly restrictive exhaust. Turning this up, we should be able to get even more power out of it. Oh yeah, no, that's good. And then in the top end, obviously we can get a lot more RPM out of it too. The game is struggling to update. It looks like we can go up to 6,500 before it kind of dies, so I'm just going to shoot all the way up there. Just kind of see where we land. Almost 800 horses. Oh boy. I'm starting to see the problem with the inline 3s, and that is mostly just based on the fact that I can't get a good, reliable, high RPM engine out of this thing because it won't balance. Inline 3, I mean, we need 3 more cylinders to have that perfect balance. Significant wheel spin issues. It makes 900 horsepower. The Oxymoron is looking pretty fresh right now. I'm just going to AI tune the engine for power right now and just see what happens. I'm curious, to say the least, what it's going to come up with. 875, but a reliable 870, or 878, but a reliable 878. I kind of feel that. I don't mind it. I think we might go with that with a couple of tweaks, so let me just see what we got here. Can we just call that 900 horsepower? 900 horsepower at 5,400 RPM. Stuff this thing in a Daihatsu, and I think you've basically got a decent 3-cylinder candidate there. But in a small car like the Bugo, this is going to be an absolute ripper. But versus, say, the truck, which we'll see its power plant soon, I believe it's got a V8 in it, a 5-liter V8 to be exact. Is it really going to make much of a difference with like 5 less cylinders but almost the same displacement? I'm extremely curious. So yeah, let's just get into the actual like car setup here and make sure first of all that this is going to work. I'm not going to change the aesthetics of the Bugo because, I mean, this is the channel mascot. This is my favorite build, basically, in the history of my entire channel. And that's why it's also my logo and plastered all over everything related to my channel and everything else, pretty much. This is the crowning jewel of my achievements here, so we're not going to change it. But I do need to make some changes to the gears because I think we might be a little bit underdoing it. The wheel spin is going to be a bit of an issue. Let's put it on an LSD. We got 21% wheel spin in gear 1, 2, 3, and yeah, not 4. This is still trapped in 1982, so I don't think we're going to be able to actually do that much with this, unfortunately. Let's just start making some changes and try to see if that helps. Semi-slicks obviously are going to be a big thing here. The rears are bigger than the fronts, and I think that's due to the weird like rear wheel setup thing I had going on there. So I'm just going to make the fronts big now. It's got some meats on the front, and hopefully that'll be enough to at least knock the wheel spin down a little bit. The top speed, 226, I think we can do better than that. Top speed is like 300 kilometers an hour, you know, casual 300. Quality is still as low as it can possibly be, which is beautiful. Everything else, I'm just going to say screw it. It's going to be good enough. Let's send it. Alright, so this truck is set up more for towing. It's basically based on an F-150. F-150 Platinum to be exact, although it does say Land Rover on the front of it, just ignore that. I had a lot of fun making this thing and I really like it, but it has a 371 horsepower 5-liter V8, which is actually probably a little bit down from the real 5-liter V8s that you get with these Ford trucks. It's made to tow, it is very heavy. Let's put a fat inline 3 in it and see what happens, I guess. Why not? Let's just grab an existing engine. I have a few of them, but we'll slap this in. Okay, it works immediately. This is going to be in a different orientation as well because this thing is 4-wheel drive, so we've gone from transverse to longitudinal, and now we have 892 horsepower. I like it. I'm going to change the paint color because I want this color, or I want this truck to look a little bit different than it did before, just as a distinction. And we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I think it's time to up the top speed on this a little bit. It seems like it can get a little bit more speed than what I was doing before. 310 or so? That's not bad. And wheel spin is actually pretty minimal. I'm just going to leave it like that. I think that's good enough. That's a really... yeah, I mean, the final drive is a little bit high, but it's probably better for acceleration. Let's see how this thing does. 0 to 100 in 5.95 seconds. That ain't slow. Alright, so here is the Bugo with the new engine. Let's take a listen. You can kind of hear the turbo blow off there, which is fun. I'm pretty sure this thing could absolutely just rocket off the line. Oh my goodness, yeah, no, we're going to have issues keeping any sort of traction. The torque steer is absolutely incredible. I just had to go ahead and turn it down in my headphones there because it's just a little bit too loud. Obviously, if you haven't figured it out by now, this is not a scientific comparison or anything like that. I just wanted to have fun and build a ridiculously massive inline 3 and see what happens. But it turns out, like, even the largest inline 3, obviously with a highly inappropriate car for it, and torque steer out at the 9s, is pretty reliable. Like, it makes decent power, obviously. It makes 900 horsepower out of a 4-liter i3. We can't rev super high. We're stuck at about 6,000 RPM, which does suck. But overall, even though it's a bit of an oxymoron, it's not that bad an engine. Oh, apparently my recovery skills are getting good too. This car is pretty much wholly inappropriate for what I'm trying to do here, although it is front-wheel drive. Maybe if I was to make like a track-focused version of this, all-wheel drive, actual manual transmission, maybe a little bit better weight balance and brakes that can possibly compensate for the speed that this thing has, and also a chassis that isn't all negative, and in 1982 we might be able to do a little bit better. Oh, speaking of most of that stuff, we do have a truck, don't we? So we got four-wheel drive, we have traction control, we have a truck that now has a 900 horsepower inline 3. That's a lot of power. I do have a hitch on the back of here, and I'm very, very curious, unscientifically of course, how good is this thing at towing? Obviously it makes a reasonable amount of power, probably too much. Oh. Well, it's pretty quick. Yeah, okay, the ESC is stopping me because I'm going to be chirping the tires. But it is darn quick. And actually fairly stable, too. I would say, okay, let me give a bit of an opinion here. Maybe this is maybe it's just me that thinks this way, but I tend to like, in a vehicle that I'm going to be driving every day, in a vehicle that I want to be reliable like a truck, I tend to like having natural aspiration. I tend to like having a low-stressed engine. I tend to like easy like maintenance and reliability, proven drivetrains pretty much. There's a reason that my truck has the 5.7 Hemi, because I'm scared of stuff like EcoBoosts, even though they have been around for a while. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm a little bit afraid of engines that have to work harder in order to make the same amount of power and smoothness as naturally aspirated ones that are larger. And in the case of towing especially, it just doesn't seem like something you'd actually want. Like, sure, you can make better fuel economy with a turbo, I mean, in ideal circumstances. I wouldn't necessarily trust the fuel economy numbers of turbo vehicles in a general sense, unless you actually drive them yourself and get a feel for it. Like, the EPA levels and stuff just don't seem to be accurate at all. I don't know, in the real world, it just seems like natural aspiration. As much as I love turbos, natural aspiration is just more reliable, and yeah, it's kind of weird actually how things have changed from every family car is just like a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter inline 4 that makes like 150 horsepower to now everything is like these tiny engines boosted to the heck, and then, well, they tend to make like 200 horsepower now in pretty much every vehicle. By the way, we're doing 325 kilometers an hour dead straight with this engine. That is crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't have a lot of faith in these high boosted tiny engines, at least in terms of reliability. I mean, they're super cool in sports cars, but in a mom like CUV, I don't know, man. It's just a little bit weird to me. This is the kind of stuff that we have to do, or manufacturers have to do to get past the like emissions requirements and things. Like, everything has a turbo now. Okay, let's go sport mode launch, build up the boost a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's quick. It's not a rocket ship, but it is quick. Okay, there's something I gotta do though. There's just something we gotta try. What is the heaviest trailer that I can get on this truck? Is it gonna be the tanker utility? I think it might be. When I first got BeamNG, this is pretty much all that I did. It was just hook trailers up to things and then just mess with like weight pretty much. I just find it to be so interesting. I don't know. I'm weird. Okay, hooked up to the back, we got this tanker. It should theoretically have fuel in it, I would assume, but let's just drive it. Oh wow, it feels super light, so probably not. Let's just drive it onto the weight pad and then set it down and see how much it weighs. The truck and trailer combo weighs 5,000 kilos. That's not light. Wow, actually that's quite heavy. If I pull a little bit forwards though, then I can drop the trailer by pressing L and then glide my way off of here. And what are we looking at? 2,127 kilos, or 4,689 pounds. That's definitely not over the tow rating of this truck. So you remember what I said before about this inline 3 being more like a diesel than its gasoline equivalents? We're going to test that out by towing some hay. And also I was thinking like low RPM limit is very diesel-esque. Also, big engines with, well, it does have a lot of power, but usually diesel engines have a lot more torque than power, and you can get some massive four cylinders with diesel as well. Let's just check out the weight of this trailer out of curiosity. How much is all this? 7,000, oh yeah, 15,000 pounds, 16,000 pounds. This is definitely the weight class that I was looking for. Now, I did try this out a little bit earlier, but I'm going to do a launch with the trailer. I just wanted to see what it's like towing this much weight with something that has this much torque and power. We still have Sport Mode ESC on, and yeah, I mean, it accelerates like there's nothing even behind it. Obviously, it's weighed down a bit. The node for it is way off out there, but it has zero trouble with this much weight. Like, no trouble at all. Maybe I'm wrong about these small four-cylinder trucks. I definitely got to try them out at some point. But the performance, at least off the line, giving it all it has, admittedly, is not as bad as I thought it would be. I figured more cylinders would help, but I don't know. I think the reality is that if you put this much time and this much money into a V8 and you've slapped 2 turbos on it, or even 1 turbo on it, and made 900 horsepower, you'd probably be making a lot more torque. 127 is pretty much our maximum speed here. I'm not sure if that's aerodynamically limited or we're just not able to get enough, but yeah, weight reduction. Let's go for it. Yeah, sport trucks, man, they're a little bit too fun. Just a little bit. Oh, hey, that was a trick. Oh, my recovery skills are suffering. So, what do we have left to do? Well, not that much, I guess. Crash into something as hard as possible, maybe? Talk about stuff for the future? I can do that. So, yeah, sorry I missed last week. I just was not feeling good, and as I said, my voice was toast, so 1 week off is unusual for me, but I definitely needed it. I'm hopeful that you enjoyed this video, though. It's a little bit shorter than usual, but I kind of need that too. Lots of stuff to catch up on here at home, boys. I got a ton of things that I'm working on behind the scenes. It is like an absolute disaster here at my house, but I'm working on it. Lots of stuff coming up, lots of ideas and things that I want to do, and I really, really want to do a lot more IRL stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Until then, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon and also the join button stuff. I'll be talking about those members that are in the $5 tier a little bit later. But until then, I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Does people even like ring the bell for notifications anymore? Is that even a thing? I still have it on for a few channels, actually. There are a couple of channels that I just cannot wait for a thing from, and I hope maybe I'm that for you. Let me know. Thanks, guys. See you soon. I just want to say thank you to those who have chosen to support this channel, specifically those in the V8 tier. I really do appreciate you guys a lot. Overlord ellipsing 45 months of support, which is insane to me. But yeah, thank you guys. So, thank you to Overlord, Terry01, SynLab, G.A. Pope, I haven't done this in a while, Davis Heister, Baja Blast, Goofy Plays, Phoenix Shark, Badger, Mancini Country, Shadow Jasper, I Look Volheim and Mike Bailey. I appreciate you guys a lot. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you want to see in the comments. I've been thinking about boats recently, which is a bad idea, because boat, it basically stands for break out another 1,000, and that's dollars. Boats are expensive. So thanks for keeping me afloat. I'll see you guys again soon.